Hi, in the pH Miracle for Weight Loss on page 270, you can find the next recipe that I'm going to demonstrate for you. It's called herbed Alkalarian butter. There's that word. You remember growing up and having big slabs of butter on your pancakes in the morning or spread across your toast, or better yet, slicing a big loaf of garlic bread and putting garlic butter in between the slices. Well, I've come up with an Alkalarian version of seasoned butter or herbed butter, and I want to demonstrate for you today. I'm using coconut oil, which is very clear, and when it becomes solid it's white, and to give it that buttery color I'm using flaxseed oil with the coconut oil. And I got this idea from Dr. Joanna Budwig, who was the great advocate of the healing properties of flaxseed oil. So after reading her research, I decided to make this herbed Alkalarian butter. So I'll demonstrate that for you right now. And we have a pan heating up on the stove with some coconut oil that has already been heated, not cooked, but heated so that it's clear. And I'm going to take 3 tablespoons of 1 cup out of 1 cup of olive oil, or excuse me, coconut oil here, 3 tablespoons, and put it into the pan. And then I'm going to add 1 diced onion. I've already pre-diced this. And 8 cloves. Yes, I said 8 cloves of garlic. And as you know, I really love garlic. I really think that it's made a difference in my life, eating it and having it in recipes. We have less colds, less flus, less sickness. It's very good for the intestinal tract. It's antibacterial, and viruses don't tend to like it too much. So I'm just going to take those 3 tablespoons of coconut oil and cook these onions and garlic together until the onions become clear. And this is butter that you're going to pour into little tubs like this and mix together and then put into the refrigerator to set up. And this is a recipe that you're going to want to do maybe once a month, or maybe once every 2 weeks, and just keep it in the fridge all ready. And you can put it on anything that you would normally put butter on. So you could do the zippy breakfast in the morning and use the Alkalarian butter to go on top of it. I really like steamed buckwheat instead of rices and oats and things like that are more starchy. I really like steamed buckwheat. Buckwheat is a seed instead of a grain, and so it's less starchy, higher in protein. And this type of Alkalarian butter goes beautifully on any of your cooked grains. I also really like steamed barley, which has a higher protein content than rice does. And again, anywhere you would put butter is a great recipe for this Alkalarian butter to go on. So once I have the onions and garlic sauteed in there, I'm going to add the salt. And the recipe says 1/2 to 1 teaspoon of salt. So I've done this so much, I kind of know that just a little bit of salt in the palm of my hand is about 1 teaspoon. And I'm going to add that and stir up the onions. And then I'm going to add the rest of the coconut oil in there and just let the onions kind of steep in that oil and get all that rich garlic and onion flavor is what I'm trying to get into the Alkalarian butter. So I'm just going to let that simmer in there for a minute and get all those beautiful flavors. Now this is also a very versatile recipe. You could add any herbs or spices that you would like to. I just happen to be using fresh rosemary today. I love the smell, the fresh smell, the piney smell of rosemary, and I'm going to be using Italian seasonings in the herb butter today, and also sun-dried tomatoes, which will give it a little more flavor and some sweetness. So once I have let the onions and garlic cook into the butter, then you can either keep the onions and garlic in if you like your Alkalarian butter very chunky, or you can strain them out and use them in a stir fry. You don't need to throw them away, because they're just all ready to go into another dish, a casserole dish that you might be doing, or maybe on top of a vegetarian pizza, and even into a soup. You could take this garlic and onions and put it into the soup. But we're looking for the flavor of garlic and onion that we want to go into this Alkalarian butter. So I'm going to turn the heat down now, and I'm just using a strainer spoon here to get out most of the garlic and onions. Oh, it smells so good. Really good. One of our other new recipes that we've been doing is an Alkalarian bread, where we were actually using sprouted buckwheat and some whole grains that have been ground into flour. You could also use this recipe. You could take your seed pancakes and make them more into an Italian dish by just putting this Alkalarian butter on it and then serving them with some minestrone soup or a nice salad. Just really lends itself to giving beautiful and rich flavor to any dish that you want to use it in. You could also put a dollop of it in any of your soup recipes, and it would add good oils, the good healing properties of coconut oil, the good saturated fats and monounsaturated fats that are found in coconut oil. So I've got my heat off now, and in fact I'm going to move my grill over and work with the oil without any heat now. And I'm going to put in all of my herbs. So my sun-dried tomato will go in here, and these are diced, minced herbs that I've already pre-cut, and then my fresh rosemary. This also gives the herbed butter a really pretty appearance when it melts on your vegetables or anything you're pouring it over, and your Italian seasonings. Really makes your dish look very gourmet and beautiful when you're having somebody over for dinner, to bring out a butter that's pre-made like this that has all these herbs and spices in it. So I'm going to be using flax oil for the golden color that it will give, and this really will make this Alkalarian butter appear to be butter. So we're going to use a half a cup. So we're using a whole cup of coconut oil to 1/2 cup flaxseed oil, and add that to the mixture. And then we're going to mix that up together. Oh, this is so pretty. Very pretty for a party. And then you just find some little ramekins and you just spoon this. I'm sure you could even just pour it into the ramekin. And then put it into the fridge and let it set up. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to take this herbed Alkalarian butter, set it up in the fridge, and then I'll be right back with you to show you how it looks when it's set up. Okay, I've returned now with the herbed Alkalarian butter, and I want you to see how closely it resembles butter in color and texture. And when the coconut oil combines with the flaxseed oil, they emulsify, and you have these beautiful little ramekins of butter. They would make beautiful additions to a beautiful table setting. You could give them as Christmas gifts. But the thing we have to remember when we go on an Alkalarian diet, that we take a lot of carbohydrates out of the diet, a lot of sugars and starches and those types of things, and we have to switch our energy sources to healthy fats. These are the calories now that we use for energy purposes, and they burn longer and cleaner in the system with less acidic residue. So I'm hoping that when you give up butter, you'll turn to our Alkalarian herbed butter.